Here's some unknown facts about colors. Did you know that when gold reaches a high enough temperature, it becomes completely invisible to the human eye? And I would test that out on my chain, but no, this shit is fake. Men and women see colors completely differently. If a guy and a girl both looked at an orange, the orange will be more red for the guy, but it would be yellow for the girls. Boy, women can't agree with us on nothing. Also, this is an all dark material known as Vanta Black. Vanta Black is so dark that this is exactly what a black hole would look like. When the police find out about this color, they're going to lose their fucking mind.
Yo.
Let me let y'all know what the swamp is.
Pay attention.
So that you have a clear ideology. The swamp is the United States government colluding with big tech companies on finessing the population into its control. Now, in these people's spare time, they not only worship Satan, they also are pedophiles. Yes, it's true. Yes. And it's a bunch of pedophiles trying to protect each other. And they have systematically implanted themselves in places of power to where they can control how the outcome of their situations will turn out. What y'all are not realizing is all of these people are attorneys. Now you might say, Pharaoh, why is that important? Niggas who've been selling drugs for a very long time know how to get away with it.
6 pharmaceuticals in our drinking water here. They include ibuprofen, caffeine, monosin, and about 3 or 4 others. In Philadelphia, they had 56 pharmaceuticals or byproducts. They range everything from epilepsy medication to mental health medicines to pharmaceuticals that really run the gamut. Here's the bottom line from the Associated Press on the study they did. It was, as you mentioned, a 5-month investigation involving the AP investigative team. 50 major cities in 50 states were looked at. And drugs were found in the water of 24 major cities. We're talking 41 million Americans here who drink that water. So what's in the water? Everything from acetaminophen and ibuprofen to mood stabilizers, antibiotics, angina, heart, as well as cholesterol drugs, and even sex hormones. The trouble here, Meek, is that the federal government does not test specifically for pharmaceuticals in the water. And in fact, there is no way to scrub water that is in a treatment plant for.
So I wanted to share this with you guys. So I'm over here in Antarctica looking on Google Earth. And if you just come to this side right here, okay, and you click on that to look at like Street View, and watch this. What the hell? They got a whole city up in here. Check that out. Look at that. Now, what the heck is going on? Got green grass, trees. I thought nobody could live here.
This is how it works.
Вот как это работает.
Did you see that?
Видели?
That little bang is enough.
Этого маленького взрыва хватит, чтобы пробить череп и разрушить его содержимое.
They used to say guns.
Говорят, людей убивает не оружие.
No goddamn sunlight. Why? Because they have mostly the Nordic bloodline. You see? And the Nordics can't take no goddamn sunlight. Why? Why is that? Because the Nordics are not natural and are not organic to this earth or to this realm. All right? This is why the Nordics live in a layer of inner earth. This is why it has been stated by multiple military personnel that the Nordics occupy a certain layer of inner earth. It's because they can't take the outer sun. They can't take the energy or the frequency of the outer sun.
Okay, it's finally starting to come out. This is what I've been saying. It's from the Israel National News. We won't force vaccine. Here's what we will do. Now, this is from the Health Ministry Director. Okay? Basically tell you straight up. Governments won't force you to take the vaccine. Amazon will. Airlines will. Banks will. You won't be able to buy, sell, or trade without the vaccine. This is how they're going to put the boot on our neck. Okay, this is how they're going to force everyone to take this vaccine. It says right here, you won't be able to go to shopping malls, hotels, restaurants, Walmart, grocery store. It's going to be mandatory unless you have one of Bill Gates' digital certificate of vaccination. This is how they're going to do it.
The untold secret history of Abraham Lincoln. Now, we all know who he is, but there is a secret about him that may or may not be true. Earlier this year, Twitter was in an uproar because they found out Beethoven was allegedly black, that his pictures were often whiteified through the media. That same rumor is also said to be true about Lincoln. I decided to do my own research, and I found out Lincoln's mom's dad was allegedly Ethiopian. And in a lot of public records, Lincoln was described as coarse-haired with dark skin. And apparently this is what he actually looked like. It's possible that Lincoln, like Beethoven, had his image whiteified through the media over the years. And I know you're thinking, okay, that could be anyone's picture, how do we know that's Lincoln? But it gets crazier. Earlier I mentioned how Lincoln's mom's dad was Ethiopian, allegedly. So his grandpa would have been Ethiopian. So I Googled a picture of an old Ethiopian man, just a random one off Google, and put it next to Lincoln's picture. And if this was his real picture, it does seem quite likely that he could have been Ethiopian.
C-R-O-N-A. C is the third letter in the alphabet. O is 15. R is 18. O is 15 again. 14, 1. If you add all these numbers up, it will equal out to 66. There's 6 letters in Corona. So if you take that number and divide that by 2020, you will get 30330. Tell me I'm wrong. Somebody tell me I'm wrong.
If you're not spiritually woke, then this video is probably not for you. If y'all know me, then you know that I 100% believe in reptilians, aliens, all of that. But I know that it's fallen angels because, I mean, just think about it. In the very first book of the Bible, Genesis, the serpent had deceived Eve to sin. Through all the ancient texts, they speak of reptilian creatures, supernatural intelligence. They worshipped many of them like gods. Where does that sound familiar from? Babylon? In the Bible, it says that the end times will be like the days of Noah. What was the big thing about the days of Noah? The fallen angels were walking the ground, drinking the blood of the humans so they could mate with humans and create the Nephilim, the giants. What do the reptilians need to stay on this earth? The blood? The reptilians are called the sons of Satan and Luciferian worship. They say that's who they sacrifice the children to. Just a minute, reptilians are fallen angels. They need a vessel just like a demon needs a vessel, a body.
Once in a lifetime moments caught on camera. Firstly, this left everybody stunned who saw this. This person found a bird frozen in the sky, and I have no clue how. This man was casually jumping over a 1,000-foot cliff, and he was never even hooked in the whole time. Next, this man stopped on the side of the road to film this downpour of rain only coming from one spot. This cat couldn't have moved his paw more perfectly. This has to be one of the luckiest people ever. This biker landed right in between the spikes. Okay, but how did their shoes get tied together mid-game? This is absolutely amazing. This has to be the best shot in pool of all time. Finally, watch this man flip the bottle and also the cap.
Absolute absolute proof that Ellen DeGeneres is the biggest celebrity Karen. Finding a celebrity who acts like a Karen is like finding water in the ocean. But Ellen DeGeneres tops them all, baby. People who've worked on her show says she's one of the meanest, most evil people alive. Not to mention her set looks like Jeffrey Epstein's island. Yeah, her set is a duplicate of Epstein's island. Now that's twisted, even for me. Even other celebrities have stories about Ellen being a toxic Karen, an absolutely judgmental, angry little elf. But just because she's a bastard, does that make her a Karen? Oh yeah! Here's Ellen seeing a kid get a Christmas present. Here's Ellen finding out there's toilet paper in public restrooms. Here's Ellen hunting for babies. Here's the Demon Queen. Here's Ellen at her happiest when she found out about COVID-19. Yeah, she's evil and she's a Karen, and that's what the people who like her say. Ellen DeGeneres is the reigning celebrity Karen. Shabadoo!
Why on earth are white people referred to as Caucasian? Well, it all has something to do with a German man from the 1800s referred to as Johann Friedrich Blumenbach. You see, our friend over here decided that humanity can be divided into 5 races based on physical appearance. But this division was not based alone on skin tone. You see, he had this obsession with the human skull. He decided that the shape of a human skull is a key factor in determining a man's race and also determining their intelligence. And you see, he decided that the people of Georgia had the ideal skull shape. As he felt that the Georgians were the ideal humans, he named the entire white race after the Caucasus region. So most white people you've met aren't actually Caucasian, but rather people from the Caucasus region like Habib are the actual Caucasian people. The term Caucasian was used in the context of racial superiority, so why don't we stop using it?
And in the PS part it says, do you think I'll do better playing dominoes on cheese or pasta? Okay, you don't. So she's open.
Screen interview. You know these interviews where it's like one person's in one location, one person's in the other, and they were talking about crime stories, including the story about the Cleveland kidnapping and you know, the whole story with Charles Ramsey, the witness, etc. And as people looked more closely at it, they noticed that they both were in Phoenix, and then as people looked even more closely, they realized that they were in the same parking lot, probably just a few feet away from each other. This is very, very weird. Let me show you a couple of images here. If you'll look at this one, and Natan, maybe you can pick this up. You see this red SUV drive behind Ashley Banfield and then immediately behind Nancy Grace, and it's abundantly clear that they're sitting in the same parking lot doing the interview. And then if we go to another one.
You look at the left side of the Pentagon, you'll note that there is very little, if any, smoke damage or heat damage at all. On the 3rd floor, it's very plain to see a file cabinet with a computer monitor. Neither of them are damaged. On the 2nd floor, you can see a wooden desk. It hasn't burned. And on the 1st floor, a very curious sight indeed, a wooden stool with a book that is laying and open. The pages aren't even singed.
If you believe, like I strongly do, that we are running on scripts or scriptures, some that we haven't even discovered about ourselves, then you may also hypothesize that in 2020, we will all have perfect vision. What does this mean? It means on the 21st of December, 2020, during the winter solstice, There's going to be a great cosmic solar event that will be seen and experienced by every single conscious being in our universe. This is what is commonly being described as the event. Why December 21st, 2020? There's natural scientific significance of this date with relation to our solar system.
Imagine if the federal government gave $19.5 billion to Hollywood. I think we'd all be pretty upset by this. Well, there is a growing body of evidence that the International Space Station is not in outer space, but it's being filmed in a desalinated pool down here on Earth, and it's being falsely misrepresented. And this started with this phenomenon known as bubbles in space. If you search for it, you'll see many of these so-called spacewalks, which have been falsely misrepresented as live, as has been exposed many times on Facebook when they do their live ISS feeds. Bubbles out in space. Well, there's not supposed to be water up there. And it is known that the astronauts do train in these big underwater tanks. And so this body of evidence, and it's not just bubbles in space, there are harnesses or green screens, evidence of flights that are actually on parabolic flights, not in space. And if this is true,
some of the others represent planets as well, but this particular part of the puzzle pertains to a precise planetary position. Jupiter and Saturn in conjunction.
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, historically, Harry, when Jupiter and Saturn are conjunct, there are enormous shifts in power and fortune. Jupiter being expansive in its influence, Saturn contracted. Conjunction suggests a state of intensification, concentration. What this indicates to me is the potential for explosive change, good and bad.
This is not something to play with. This, like any nature uncontrolled, will destroy you. The wind is beautiful. Go out in a hurricane. Water is great, but don't get caught in a tidal wave. Huh? Snow is wonderful. Don't be in an avalanche. So nature, the same nature that gives life and comfort, is the nature that kills if it's out of control. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now this is a force, sex, and urge, and a hunger. And if we don't get control of it, we can never rise to greatness.
I just saw this on my For You page, so I thought I had to share it. So this is one of the pyramids that the Egyptians built, you feel me? But it turns out that the longitude of that shit is the same exact number as the speed of light. How the fuck?
So glad somebody finally said it. Let's talk about the pyramids today. Now, the pyramid has 7 functions. Function 1 was a power generator and a distributor. Function 2 was used for preservation of life and many other things. Function 3 was used for space travel. Function 4 was used for energy balance in the world. Function 5 was used for prophecies. Function 6 it was used for resurrection. Function 7 it was used for divine unity. But today we're going to focus on function 3. And like I said before, the pyramids are used for space travel. Many of the monolithic pyramids that we know were used for space travel back in ancient times. Monolithic pyramids are much larger than pyramids like the Great Pyramid. And it's made of a single stone, the stone being obtained from space. When our first ancestors came from the star Sirius, they used the pyramids to travel between dimensions. That's why the coordinates represent the speed of light. Like and comment for part 2.
What's one historical figure you want to fight?
This guy right here, Gandhi. Your history books don't teach you of how racist he was to black people. Especially in South Africa, he thought Indian people were better than black people. He was just flat out racist to black people. So he can meet me outside. I'm ready for him.
Without making a mistake. Look at the letter at the end and remember the sound it makes. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready to read this word the fast way. Get ready. Kid. Yes, sound it out. Get ready. Kid. Sound it out. Get ready. Kid. girls, sound this word out. Get ready. Steel. What word? Steel. Yes, steel. Read these words the fast way. Get ready. Playing. Yes, playing. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Let's read these words the fast way without making a mistake. Get ready. Kite. Yes, kite. Get ready. Kit. Yes, kit. Get ready. Steel. Yes, steel. Get ready. Playing. Yes, playing. Get ready. Must. Yes, must. Or to go speak your reader up from under your seat. Open your book up to lesson 6. Get ready. Kite. Playing. Must. King. Steel. Yes, get ready. Kite. Playing. Must. King.
Welcome to ridiculous shit going on around the world right now that for some reason you just haven't heard about. Part 10. A startup company named Hermeus just raised over $16 million to build a jet that travels at Mach 5. That means you can go from New York to London in under 90 minutes. Or you could go from New York to Los Angeles in under 30 minutes. Also, a coronavirus vaccine that has a 90% protective rate has been tested and it seems to work. It has been tested on over 43,000 people, and if everything keeps moving smoothly like it has been, this could be it. Also, NASA just claimed that the Milky Way galaxy has at least 300 million habitable planets with liquid water on their surfaces. And the closest of these planets are only 20 light years away, so that means life on other planets could be closer than we think. Also, scientists just found the STD chlamydia in the deepest reaches of the Arctic Ocean, and they have no idea how it survives there or how it even got there.
Fight, compete, dominate, eat, sleep, reproduce, repeat. These are all basic characteristics of one of the most ancient, fundamental, and lowest part of the human brain called the R complex. The reptilian brain is all about physical survival and holds no capacity for any type of higher thinking. It's the source of our instinctual fight or flight responses and anything to do with anger, aggression, sex, violence, territorialism, and addiction. Society is built around this reptilian brain in that it might stimulate this type of cold-blooded, addiction-based behavior and become the dominant mode of existence in everyone's everyday life. Because of this, most people are spending nearly every minute of their lives in reptilian brain mode. The conscious aware mind has been put to sleep, and what passes for thinking is nothing more than a pre-programmed automated reptilian brain response. It's absolutely imperative that we do not allow our conscious awareness to reside in this portion of our brain. For people that do become addicted, and thus have their lives taken over by the demands of the reptilian brain, inevitably trapping one's energy in the root chakra, and ultimately lowering the overall vibration. Always be mindful.
Okay, you guys wanted part 2, so if I get canceled for this, just run it up. So let's start with an obvious one. Cardi B, listed at 5'3", but if you apply the Tory curve, she's 5 foot flat. That's not an alien? And before you say that's rude, her real name is Belcalis Marlenis Almanzar. Come on. Here's another one. Tom Cruise, leader of Scientology, believes aliens are coming. There is no way he's 5'7". Just look at his teeth. That is not how human teeth work. I know I already did Lil Wayne already, but you're going to sit here and tell me that that's not an alien in a poor disguise. Honestly, all these pictures are suspect. Last but certainly not least, here's a picture of The Rock and Charles Barkley and Shaq. The Rock and Charles Barkley are listed as the same height on Google. And there's your smoking gun. Thank you and threes up.